a natural hidden love, which comes naturally to our godly soul. The benefit of this hidden love is that it's so powerful that it's able to control our thought, speech, and action to make them consistent with the needs of our godly soul and to curb them from fulfilling those of our animal soul. This means that we are able to become a Beinoni, the struggling Jew, which is the aspiration of the Tanya, to reach self-mastery through this hidden love. The problem with the hidden love is that it only becomes revealed when we are faced with the test of idolatry. What the Alter Rebbe is trying to do is to show us how each and every single sin is essentially an act of idolatry. So after explaining in the previous chapter how we can become intimate with God through Torah and mitzvahs, today we're explaining the other side of the coin, how we become separated from God through sin. Now, we do know, we've learned this in Tanya, that everything is good and everything is part of God. The only time that a person is separate from God is if he fails in his freedom of choice and he makes the wrong choice. God gives us the ability to make the wrong choice and to see things from the wrong perspective, but essentially everything is connected to God and everything is part of God unless we make the wrong choice. So while mitzvahs and Torah are the ultimate purpose of God, which is why his energy is seamlessly integrated with each mitzvah and with Torah, so that when we study a mitzvah, study Torah, or perform a mitzvah, we are connecting with God's energy. The antithesis of that is sin. The antithesis of intimacy with God, divorce from God, is sin, because sin is the ulterior purpose of God. The ultimate purpose of God is for us to do a mitzvah and to study Torah. But the ulterior purpose of God is for there to be sin in order that we should be able to have the freedom of choice to choose the right thing or the wrong thing. But in fact, when it comes to sin, more than just allowing us to have freedom of choice, sin is actually the antithesis of the ultimate purpose of God of the mitzvah, because sin is not free choice. Sin is actually the wrong choice. And hence, Tanya teaches us today that when we engage in a sin, three parts of our environment are steeped in idolatry: the sin itself, the garments of our soul, thought, speech, and action, which engage in the sin, as well as our soul itself, all become infused with the antithesis of God, with divorce from God, with idolatry. And hence, when we engage in sin, the sin itself, the garments of our soul, and our soul itself are all separated from God. The Alter Rebbe takes us one step further in today's Tanya, as he points out to us that sin is actually worse than idolatry. You see, idolatry is just doing its job. God created the idol, or the idolatrous mindset, or the idolatrous person, in order to give us freedom of choice. But when we, the Jews, make the wrong choice, then we are actively denying God as the master of the universe. So whilst God created idolatry there to test us, the idol is aware of the truth of God. It just defies God as part of its mission. But when we encounter idolatry and we make the wrong choice, then we're actively denying God as master of the universe. And hence, we are pledging allegiance to idolatry. We're divorcing from God each and every single time that we sin. And thus, in today's Tanya, we're inching closer to being able to understand how it is that each and every sin is essentially an act of divorce from God. And thus, we're able to come closer to the awareness of how we can reinterpret every sin as an act of idolatry, which will then unleash that powerful energy within us, that hidden love, that will allow us to reach self-mastery. That's a wrap for today. Let's try to apply. You can do this.